Rock and roll legends, the Animals, and touring the country right across May thanks to metropolistouring.com/the Animals. 9 top 10 50 hits in this country. The Animals have left an indelible mark on the music world, and I caught up with founding member John Steele to chat about that a whole lot more. If I can take you back to the very first incarnation of the Animals, I believe you were called the Pagans. Did you know when you first got the band into a rehearsal room that there was something magical about what you were doing?
Well, it was just magical to be doing anything like that at that age, you know. Eric Burden and me were both signed into the Newcastle College of Art at 15 years of age. We were both school dropouts, not a degree or a diploma between us, but we had a limited amount of artistic talent. So rather than get a proper job, we opted for art school. What was the Pagans eventually became the Animals by 1963. We only dreamed of something like that, you know. We were such big fans. You mentioned Chuck Berry just now there. He was an idol to us. So, you know, I still think he was one of the greatest rock and rollers ever. And people like him and Little Richard and Fats Domino, and they were what inspired us to not just be listeners and fans. It inspired us to be players, you know. We're all doing the same thing at the same time without realizing what was going on, you know, until the Beatles kind of exploded on the scene and showed everybody the way to go.
Well, you were in the middle of this incredible cataclysmic event that became rock and roll as we now know it right across the world. Obviously, aside from, you know, the people that inspired you, such as Little Richard. But how tough was it being a musician in the 60s? I mean, it's not like today's industry where I worked out very early that I'm a shithouse guitar player, so I could just go into radio. There wasn't a lot of career options back then. No,
it was all new territory, really. Everything seemed to be just a learning curve. You know, we just did what we wanted to do, and somehow events took a hold of us. You know, we were playing at a club in Newcastle called the Club of Go-Go. And we became the house band, and there was a big, you know, we had a big following in Newcastle by that time. The manager of the club, Mike Jeffries, who became the Animals manager, he was taking acts that were like American bluesmen and featuring them at the club, and we were backing them, you know. So we got to play behind John Lee Hooker and Sonny Boy Williamson, for instance.
Yeah.
This was fantastic for us, you know. This was like, whoa, we're walking with the gods here, you know. And it was a great experience. Ronan O'Reilly, who was the guy who started the first pirate radio station, he had a club in the West End. And Giorgio Gomolski, who was managing the Yardbirds at the time, what they came up with was a swap with the Yardbirds coming up to Newcastle to do our gigs. And we went down to London and played their gigs for just about a week or two in December of '63. And that was when we realized, you know, we could hold our own with pretty much anybody.
A staggering 9 top 50 hits in Australia. When you look at the catalogue of songs, The House of the Rising Sun, I'm Crying, Boom Boom, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood, We Got to Get Out of This Place. So many incredible songs. If I could take you back to that very first trip to America, I'd imagine that would have been crazy, getting off a plane and just having screaming girls follow you. Is there any particular moment or craziness that stands afresh in the memories after all these years?
Yeah, we were flying across to New York, landed and got out there screaming, like I say, screaming kids, and a kind of big press conference, everybody snapping photos and asking silly questions and ding-dong, dosh-bash. And then, this was the craziest moment. The PR people for the record company had teamed up with a British motor firm called Triumph, and they had introduced this new sports car to America. It was called the Triumph Tiger. So the PR people like going, oh, tiger, animals, the animals, yeah, okay. So we came out, and there was 5 Triumph Tigers lined up, each with a driver, and each car had a 6-foot gorgeous model with fishnet stockings and a red basque and imitation whiskers and a tiger's tail fixed on the butt end. They sat us on the back of on top of the back on the seats, you know, each one of us with this gorgeous model and a driver, and we set off towards Manhattan with a motorcycle outrider escort with the sirens going. And we thought, bloody hell, what's going on here?
Absolutely incredible. We are chatting to John Steele of the Animals this afternoon for your drive home. Made 50 years of playing drums, swinging the sticks. How's the body hold up these days on tour? I'd imagine there's a little less partying and a lot more stretching and deep heat and those types of things to get the body ready for a show these days.
I don't do any exercise. I do some gardening when I'm at home. My wife says dig there, and I do. But actually, I've just come off the road 2 days ago. We've done 41 gigs this year so far. Wow. 5 weeks in Germany and 2 weeks in Sweden.
If any of my mates are in bands at the moment, they're listening and they're still whinging about having to do 4 shows a week. John Steele's done 41 already this year, so toughen up, boys. Still got it, mate. Mate, if I could bring it down to a less happy, last year was a sobering reminder of mortality for the whole entirety of rock and roll and for music and entertainment. So many legends left the mortal coil. Was there a particular passing that really made you think, geez, better get on with it whilst I can?
Prince and David Bowie, but for 2 of them, were both younger than me.
Yeah.
Prince by quite a way, and I thought, bloody hell, what's going on? It was like they were falling like 9 pins almost in last year. But, you just got to get on with it.
Absolutely. Make sure you get out and check out the Animals while they're on tour. MetropolisTouring.com/the Animals. John Steele with us on the show this afternoon. We're going to run out of time very soon, John, but something that I love to ask everybody that comes on the station, because we chat to so many various rock and roll genres. Do you remember the first record or the first piece of music that you ever got, and do you still listen to it? Do you still own it by any chance?
The first single I ever bought at age of about 13 or 14 was Bill Haley. Get out of that kitchen, rattle those pots and pans. shake, rattle and roll. That was my very, that was a 78 RPM shellac. And but it didn't take very long to when Eric and I got together and we started to listen to not only sort of mainstream rock and roll, but we started to delve a bit deeper and find that people like Muddy Waters and John Lee Hooker and Lightning Hopkins and discovered that Shake, Rattle and Roll had been recorded by Big Joe Turner, who was one of the best blues shouters ever. And, that's when we began to realize that there was a whole layer underneath commercial rock and roll that was well worth mining. And we did. I'll never forget once there was an interview with Bo Diddley, and somebody said, "Oh, you were so inspirational to the people in the English invasion, the British invasion, or whatever. So many people used the Bo Diddley beat, the Animals, the Rolling Stones, and you kind of opened the door for them, And he said, "Yeah, man," and I was left holding the doorknob.
And a great way to wrap it up. John Steele, an absolute pleasure to chat to you this morning, sir. Mate, really looking forward to having you out in the country. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you in a couple of months' time.
Okay, it's great talking to you, Dave. Thanks very much for that.
I'm just a